Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong and today we are doing the February repurchase review. If you are new here, the repurchase review is something I do at the end of every month. It's sort of your favorites and fails, but what I do is I go back through everything that I featured on my channel that month and would I buy it again or would I not, and any sort of updates or anything on those items. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to work our way backwards. So we're starting with items from my last video. And we're actually going to start off with the Kulfi Minty Moment Lucky Lotus blush. So this is a really pretty, like, kind of purple fuchsia shade. I'm just going to show you a little clip here. I did some underpainting with it today. So just want to show you what that looks like. And I have to say that I really like this blush. So I don't find it to be the longest lasting blush. I feel like in the summer, maybe 6 hours or so. But I do think that now, even though it's cooler out, it's going to give me like about 8 hours or so of wear, but there will be a little bit of fading. It'll still be present, but it will have faded by that point. And I did have like a wear time update in my video with this, so if you're interested in that. But you can see that this is like a cream product, and it's one of those, it's a purple violet shade that has a lot of pink in it. So it's one of those pinky violets. And I think that makes it really beautiful on the cheek as blush. And it works a little bit better with a wider variety of skin tones versus a more blue-based purple. So I have to say, I really like this shade. It's deep. You can definitely get this built up, pigmented. I think for me, I prefer it with the underpainting, but I'm not sure if you could really tell in the little clip, but with the underpainting, you can see that it still had not fully set by the time I added the foundation. I had waited 2 or 3 minutes. So I think maybe next time, maybe even put a little powder or something on it to set it first before going out, because even though I was using kind of a fluffy brush and I was patting and not swiping, I still felt like it shifted a little bit during that process. So overall, my thoughts on this blush, I really like it. I think it's fun to play with. Is it going to be my best, favorite formula for cream blushes? No. However, when they have unique shades like this, it's something that I would pick up. So, this is not going to be a blush where I pick up all of the shades, but any sort of unique shades that are fun to play with, or maybe a color you want to try and experiment with at a less expensive price point than something like a Cle de Peau cream blush, this is a great brand to do that with. So overall, I would have to say, yes, I would purchase this again in the Lucky Lotus shade. Also from that video, we have the Charlotte Tilbury Pop Shot in Ultraviolet. And this is a really pretty, again, this is going to be a purpley violet shade with pink in there. So there's a little bit of a blue reflect, but the actual shadow itself is going to be a pink-based violet. And then you have a little bit of that blue reflect kind of as a topper on there. So it's a really beautiful shade. I do think that this shade looks best wet, where you can really see more of that blue, reflect. When you put it on dry, that's not as noticeable. However, there is a little bit of, it's not that it fades per se during the day, but it does kind of like slide down a little bit. So I got to play with that a little bit more. However, I think the color is pretty and it's unique enough that I'm happy that I purchased. I have to say, I'm actually on the fence with this one. The color is gorgeous, so would I buy it again for the color? Yes. However, I am a little disappointed with how it wore over the time, so that's kind of what gives me a little bit of pause, because it's kind of expensive for a single shadow that doesn't perform up to my expectations. So I guess taking all of that into account, I would have to say I would not repurchase it again if I'm looking for something that's going to last all day without any movement. However, if you're just looking for something unique and, kind of like eye-popping, I would purchase it again in that case. So for me personally, I would pick it up again, but I would go in knowing that my expectations are not going to be full day wear without any touch-ups. Also from that video, we have the Danessa Myricks. This is the Vision Flush Glow, which is a glowier version of her Vision Flush products. This is in the shade Femme, and it looks lilac in sometimes when the light hits a certain way, but it's really more of an opalescent pink There is more pink than purple. In my opinion, you can see some pink, some gold, a little bit of green, and occasionally, you know, some violet in there, but it's definitely going to be more pink hued. Would I pick this up again? I would. I think it's fun to play with, and it's not an item that's going to break the bank. It's not going to be my favorite highlighter ever, but I think this is going to be really fun for spring and summer, and I think the color is unique. It's unique to my collection at least, so I would pick this one up again. And then we have the RMS lip lights. So I ordered 2 of these originally, loved them, and then ordered the rest of them. So I now have all of these. So that is definitely a repurchase for me. So I think these are so incredibly moisturizing, comfortable on the lips. They're not going to be like crazy amounts of color. I mean, you are definitely going to get some more pigmented shades there, but they are more like they're a tinted lip balm, but or lip gloss even, but you can build them up to something a little bit more impactful. Not quite as much as a liquid lipstick, but close. So this one here is the shade Crush, which is sort of your peachy nude. And look at the sheen that you have on there. I just find these to be really comfortable and moisturizing. So I really like these. Next, we have the Sisley Fido Shine lipstick in shade 13, Sheer Beverly Hills. This is a limited edition collaboration shade. It is, oops, bent that there. This is exclusive to Neiman Marcus. And you can see it's kind of this peachy shade here. I like the idea of them having a peachy shade included in here because there really isn't like a true peach in their current lineup. However, this has more of a milky opaque base to it. So although it's called Sheer Beverly Hills, it's really more opaque than sheer in my opinion. And I just don't love that opacity with this particular shade. So for me, I would pass on this particular shade. The formula though is a win. So the formula itself I think is really great if you're looking for one of those lipstick lip gloss hybrid products. And yeah, they're a little bit better than the Chantecaille lip shakes in my opinion. Next up, we have the Tom Ford concealer. And I am going to have another video featuring that this week with the Tom Ford concealer going head to head with the Cle de Peau stick concealer. You know, unfortunately, I just really wasn't feeling well enough last week to do that. So it's still on my to-do list. I should get that one up this week. But this concealer here, it's the Traceless Soft Matte Concealer. I have shade 0 and 0 Blanc. And I'm just going to put that right here going horizontal. You can see that this is going to be like an ivory with a touch of peach in it. I think this is a really nice product. Is it the best concealer ever? No, I don't think it's the best, but is it one that is really easy to use, really easy to reach for? If you're looking for light to medium coverage, a little bit on the lighter side in my opinion, you know, this is one I think I'll be using a lot during the summer in particular. So I would definitely pick this one up again. It is less expensive than some of the other Tom Ford concealers. You know, this one retails for $60 US, but I picked it up for, I forget exactly how much, but I want to say like $48 at Selfridges. So, you know, for that price point, that's Selfridges price, that's half of what I paid for the Shade and Illuminate concealer. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth that in my opinion. But regardless, I would pick this one up again because I think it's a nice formula. Keep in mind that I think this is going to be a light to medium, closer to the lighter end coverage concealer, but it performs really well for what it is. So if you are looking for something in that level, this is definitely one to consider. Next, we have some Jones Road items, and these 2 were sent to me, so I did not purchase these myself. We have the Jones Road and Hervé Claude Universal Hair Balm. I am absolutely loving this. I'm using it every day. It is weightless on my hair, and it just really helps kind of keep it in good shape, conditions it, separates any like curls and so forth. And I think this is fantastic. This is currently my favorite hair product, so I would definitely buy this again. And I have to say, I use so little of this that this product here, this is 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. At the rate I'm going, this could last me like 2 years. So definitely worth it. If you haven't tried it, this is way better in my opinion. I have, by the way, I have fine hair. So if you have something thicker, maybe you would use a little bit more product than I do. But this is so much better than a hair oil for me. My other favorite product would be like the Sisley hair oil. That's one that really I just have to get the tiniest drop ever on my hand and use that all over. And even if I do get a little bit too much on my hands, this one, it just doesn't weigh it down. It doesn't get that oily, greasy look if you use a little bit too much by mistake. So it's just kind of foolproof. Also from Jones Road, we have the Miracle Balm in Miami Beach. And I actually use this as a highlight today to kind of warm up the Kulfi blush a little bit. So let me show you that clip here. A lot of people like to use the Miracle Balm all over their face. I personally don't like Miracle Balms for that. The only Miracle Balms I like are the ones that are really more of a blush shade, where you get kind of that light, soft blush look. So Miami Beach and Flushed are the two I would recommend. So I would definitely recommend this one if you're looking for like a peachy, everyday, very soft look, you know, kind of blush product. I think this is not only a great value, but a really nice product. You can also use it as a highlight, as I did today, because it can really sheer out, but it's not going to build up to a ton of pigmentation. So just something to note there. So I would recommend this color again. I would also recommend the Flushed color in the Miracle Balms, but I can't say I'm a fan of all of the Miracle Balms in general. Next, we have the Lisa Eldridge lip glosses. So I ended up picking up all of her new shades, and I really like them. I think these are nice shades. Now, her lip gloss formula in general is one that I like. It's not my favorite lip gloss formula, but it's one that I do actually reach for on a regular basis because I find it to be pretty moisturizing, very comfortable on the lips. It is a little bit more of a lip oil than a true lip gloss, in my opinion, because as it does kind of meld with your body temperature, it does get a little bit slippery. So, you know, it can kind of feather out and so forth in my experience. So I'm actually wearing Sorcery right now, which is this one here. And then, yeah, you know, she's got some sparkle shades this time, which are new. And I think those are really nice. They give you kind of like this nice subtle pop. This one here is Carnival, which is another one that I've been really enjoying. I think this is great for spring or summer, that nice bright pink pop. And then this one here is Dancing Rose, one of the new sparkles. This is the one that I find to be a little bit, you know, more unique. It's a translucent shade just with a little bit of suspended sparkle. You've got a little bit of a multi-chromatic sparkle in here, but it's mostly going to be pink and gold. But you can see there's a little bit of some other shades kind of mixed in there as well, but primarily it's going to be pink. So I would pick those up again. You know, I think they're a nice lip gloss, and I'm really into glosses this year. So I'm kind of revamping my supply of glosses. So I haven't worn them a ton in the past few years. Next, we have Suku Spring, and I actually have two videos on the Suku Spring collection, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details on these because I went through which items from those collections were my favorites and, you know, kind of ranked them essentially from the entire collection. But, you know, I am still devastated by the news about the, you know, what is this? The melting powder blush. I always call it melting color blush, but it's a melting powder blush. This is Suku's newest blush formula. It's only been out for a year, and it's one of those like powder to cream formulas essentially. So it's a powder, but when you put it on and it melds with your body temp, then it melts into your skin like a cream blush. So it's really an incredible blush. Unfortunately, they cannot access like a specific ingredient that they need to make this anymore. So it has unfortunately been discontinued. I have put in a few inquiries with Suku as to what's going on with their blush lines then in general, because they had, just before they announced this, they had announced that they were discontinued the Pure Color blush. At this point, I'm still waiting to hear back from them. They said they will let me know when they figure it out, but I guess, you know, they're still just kind of working things out. So at this time, certain shades of Pure Color blush have been already officially discontinued, but you know, the product itself is not officially discontinued at that moment. At this time, it has been kind of put on hold. So perhaps the pure color blushes will stay, but these melting powder blushes are definitely discontinued due to a lack of ingredients. So this is one of the ones from the spring collection. The 105 is the purpley one that, you know, honestly, I don't think it's going to restock again, but I keep looking. This one here, though, is 103, which is a really nice kind of warm tone pink. And it's like a peachy pink here. It's really pretty. So yeah, you know, I'd pick it up again. I would pick up all of them that I could. The collection itself, Suku Spring, I'm very happy with everything I got from there, including their new lip glosses, which are really nice. So I'm still waiting for one of mine that kind of sold out. But this one here is shade 4. And their new lip gloss formula is really a nice treatment lip gloss. So overall, I'd pick up everything in that collection again. But if you are looking for kind of a ranking or specific favorites from that collection, definitely check out the specific videos on the Suku Spring collection. And I have that information in there. Next up, we have the Sicily Limited Edition Fita Rouge lipsticks. There are 3 of these. This one here is shade 200 Rose Zanzibar. And I really like all 3 of the shades. Let's just go ahead and put it here. It's so hard to do it when it's up this high still. But I would pick up all 3 of these again. And one of the great things, these are limited edition, but they have been restocking them. So even though it's a limited edition item, it looks like you've got a little bit of time to get these. So I like it when companies who are doing something limited edition kind of do continually restock, at least for a couple of months. Give everybody a chance. Not everybody, you know, pays attention to the releases like maybe, you know, quite as frequently as somebody who has a YouTube channel does. So it's nice for everybody to have access to these limited edition items. So they have just recently restocked on the Sicily website, and I have seen them, you know, restock on some of the retailers as well. So hopefully they'll have at least one more restock before these are gone. But I think that they are really nice. I'd pick up all 3 of these again. 200 Rose Zanzibar is my favorite. Next, we have this Chanel. This is the Eye and Cheek palette. So this is that oversized palette. This one's in Tendresse. And this one, as I mentioned in my review, I can't tell if this formula is going to develop hard pan over time. It kind of seems like it might. I have used this, you know, throughout the month, kind of playing with it. I have not noticed any hard pan or anything develop on it yet. So far, so good. So what happened with this, Chanel released it in the boutiques. It was out for about 10 days when all of a sudden, you know, corporate kind of put a stop to that, and they had boutiques stop selling it. And these are now supposed to be re-released on March 1st. So this is part of the spring collection for Chanel. So I'm not sure exactly why they had to stop it. Maybe they had some sort of production delay and they weren't able to get enough of them out and available, but they should be, you know, popping up March 1st for, you know, it online and in boutiques again and so forth. I do not know whether or not they are going to be going to other retailers at this time. I feel like the Chanel information keeps changing. You know, we've already seen LeBlanc has come out in other countries, not here in the US. Whether it's going to be coming out in March or April, different sources say different things. So I'm not really sure. I have to say I'm kind of disappointed that they keep changing things so frequently. But yeah, this is a nice palette. If these are colors that you wear a lot, then I would recommend, you know, getting the palette. However, if this is not going to be something you've reached for frequently, I would pass on this because they are pretty big pans. You know, I personally prefer them as blush over eyeshadow on me, but they do work nicely as eyeshadow. The formula seems nice, but you know, unless you're going to use it a lot, you're probably better off finding a similar colored palette, you know, maybe even an eyeshadow palette, and using it, you know, that way instead, because yeah, you got to really use these a lot to use these up and make this palette worth it, in my opinion. It's just, it's not a love. It's a like. Would I pick this one up again? I don't think I would. I think I would pass on this. Next, we have the Cle de Peau Cushion Foundation. And I've been reaching for this a ton. You know, the Sicily Cushion Foundation is probably my favorite foundation. That, however, I just have a much better color match with the Cle de Peau. Formula-wise, I still give a slight edge to the Sicily over the Cle de Peau, but they're very, very close. And the fact that this has a better color for me, it's starting to kind of overtake the Sicily a little bit for me. Plus, refills are more readily available, you know, here in the US, whereas Sicily refills are not. So, you know, all of those factors together are kind of moving the Cle de Peau cushion to my #1 spot. It's just so easy to use. We'll see how much wear I get out of one cushion compared to the Sicily, because the Sicily one really lasts me a long time. You know, definitely much longer than something like the Chantecaille cushion. So far I have not had to flip this over, and this is the one that I've been using almost every day. Next up, we have the Talk Beauty mascara. I have to say I really like this one because if you are looking for something with like defined lashes and, you know, something, it's not going to give you a ton of volume. It's not going to give you a ton of lengthening, but it's going to give you like definition a little bit more so than something like a lash tint. But it's kind of like a little bit of that balance. So I think this is a really great everyday mascara. And I have to say the wand on here feels more like a lash comb when you run it through. It feels a little stiffer like a lash comb, which I like because it's really allowing me to get that separation. So this is a mascara I'm really enjoying. I just wanted to mention that Talk Beauty did send this to me. So this was in PR. Next up, we have the Pat McGrath liquid eyeshadows. And I, you know, talked about this a little bit at the end of January as well as beginning of February. I'm really loving these. I'm wearing them today. You know, they have become like kind of a go-to quick eyeshadow kind of look for me. So I'm really enjoying them. This one here is Cosmic Chartreuse. And this is what I have all over my lids today. And then I have a little bit of the Smoldering Seduction as an eyeliner. And, you know, they go on smoothly. They last all day. They've got great colors and they've got a lot of sparkle. So, you know, they add a little something without like smudging or moving around. So I have to say I'm really impressed with the formula and I really like the colors. So I had picked up all of them. I would do it again. Next, we have the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Bonds. So I picked up two. I picked up the Pink Pop and I picked up Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk, I like. I like this one because, you know, I think this is a nice shade. Let's just go ahead and dab a little bit of that on. It's kind of like a movie nude kind of shade. And then Pink Pop, though, I don't really like this one. It's really more orange. It's like a peachy orange shade. Instead, it's not very pink. It's pretty warm. It wasn't what I expected. So I would pick up the Pillow Talk shade, but I would pass on the Pink Pop. The formula itself is very nice. So I do like the formula. So, you know, that's kind of where we are with those. Next up, we have the Givenchy Spring Lanterne Bombs. So I have to say, I really think the packaging on these is gorgeous. And yeah, there we go. It's really pretty. It's kind of like this charcoal gray on, you know, logo on the white. And this is leather here. Obviously, these can work for their other products. So, you know, you don't have to toss that once you're done with this. And this one here is the Bomb in 23. This is the one, I really like this one. Yeah, I've been using this one a lot. And they all have a little bit of shimmer. Overall, I'd have to say I like these. I'd pick them up again. Still waiting for the blush in this collection to release at a retailer that I can purchase it from the US. I don't think we'll be getting that here in the US. And but the other items are currently available at Givenchy. So they have another like lipstick, one of their new Silk Intense lipsticks. So they have a shade of that with that particular packaging as well. And then these bombs. So those are going to be available at Givenchy. And I did pick up the new color correctors and concealers from Givenchy, but with not being well last week, I just haven't had a chance to use them yet, but they did arrive finally. And last up, we have the new Hermes Summer lipsticks. And these are in the shiny formula. This one here is Corail Parasol. Yes, that's what number 6. And I have to say, I like these. You know, they are one that, you know, they are not my favorite formula, but they're one that I end up reaching for a ton during the summer. I actually used one up last year, mostly, like a little bit of it kind of melted. But, you know, I did actually use it pretty much all the way up. These are similar to the Poppy Lip Shine. I do find that they feel a little bit oilier, like less creamy, a little oilier in texture than my Poppy Lip Shine, but very similar in texture otherwise. And, you know, they're nice. So this is Coral Parasol. This one's my favorite from the summer collection. The other two shades I feel like look more like an autumn, you know, color palette. They're going to be more browns, but they are really beautiful. I'd pick them up again. I think for me, I'll probably use them more end of summer than I will towards the beginning of summer. All right, so I do have quite a few new items coming to my channel soon, so definitely subscribe if you haven't already. We've got things like the Danessa Myricks, you know, the blush bombs. We're going to compare those with the Armani Neo Nude blushes and so forth. So a whole bunch of new things coming up soon, but as we usually do with a repurchase review, we have to go through my top 5 items for the month. All right, so my top 5, not in any particular order, but we have the Cle de Peau Cushion Foundation. I wear shade I-10. That is definitely in there. We also have the RMS lip lights in the shade Rumor here. This one is the one that I've been wearing the most. Just put a little bit here for you to see. And I have to say, I don't love the packaging on these. You know, I prefer something like, you know, that I don't need to like touch really, you know, if I were on the go. So this is Rumor. It's kind of this nude shade with a touch of mauve in it. It's the one I've been wearing the most. So that's going to be in there. We also have the Suku Spring Collection, in particular the melting powder blushes. So again, this is the one that I showed you before in 103, but the 105 is actually my favorite. You know, I hope it comes back, but I don't think it will. And then we also have the Jones Road Hair Balm. This is in there. And then my last item is also from Suku. This is one of their new treatment lip glosses. This is my favorite shade. This one is number 5. And it's kind of that, you know, like rosy shade that I wear all the time. So it's become a go-to for me. I just think this formula is fantastic. And yeah, those would be my top 5 for this month. So I would love to know what you've been reaching for this month. Any favorites or fails for February? Have you tried any of these items that I've used here today? And what are your thoughts on those? So please share down below in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.